I'm going to be heading out.
On yours, Bill. All right, man. Thank you. Mr. Crystal, Senator Sanders.
How are you?
Yeah. Hey, we are so eager to have you. This is the 6th grade with some 5th graders. And got a chair set up for you and a whole bunch of questions.
A rocking chair. Morning.
Good morning, Senator Sanders, guys.
How you guys doing? I'm good. I'm good. Well, thank you for inviting me to say a few words. Who knows what I do for a living? What's my job? Yep.
Whitney.
Yep.
So you're like the U.S. Secretary? I mean, Senator.
Senator. That's good. And how many senators does Vermont have? Who knows the answer to that? Yep.
2.
Very good. Okay. And in Washington, there are 2 bodies. One is the Senate, and what's the other one called? We got some more hands here. I think you know. Anyone know? Do you know? What? Okay. Yup. Did you know? Who knows? You know?
President?
No. Okay, good. You got the president over here. He's in the White House. You got the Senate over here, and you have another one called the
Congress?
Good. It's either called the Congress or the House of Representatives. And because we are a very small state, we have one representative, and that's Congressman Peter Welch. And Senator Leahy, Patrick Leahy, is the other senator along with me. And who is the President of the United States? Yes. What's his name? Yes, young lady right here.
Me?
Yeah.
Barack Obama.
That's right. President Obama is the president. So you have one president, and we have 100 members of the Senate, 2 from every state, and we have 435 members of the Congress. A state like California, I think, has like 50 or 60 representatives. It's a very big state. And Vermont and Wyoming have 1 representative each, because we're small states. Who has questions that they would like to ask me? Anyone have any questions? Yes, right here.
Have you ever played basketball with Barack Obama?
I haven't played basketball. No, I haven't played basketball. He's a pretty good ball player. But I have met with him, in fact, a couple of years ago when I was running for the Senate. And the first time he came up here and was in Burlington and helped me get elected. So I meet with him pretty often. Actually, there are some senators who do play basketball with him. I used to play basketball when I was a kid, but I don't play with him. Yeah. Yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So in humanities, in the future, we're gonna start studying Africa. And what do you think, in your opinion, are like the best countries to study?
Okay. I'm glad you're going to study Africa. I've been there a few times. Do all of you know who Nelson Mandela is?
Yes.
Mr. Mandela died recently. And I had the privilege a number of years ago going to South Africa when he was inaugurated as president of that country. So one interesting country to look at is South Africa. That is a very large country in Africa, an important economic country, and that's an important country. And South Africa has gone through many changes in recent years. It was, for many years, it was the whites in that country were a minority, and yet they controlled the whole government and the economic system. What Mandela was about is kind of bringing the black people, the vast majority of Africans, together to say, you know what, we are the majority and we want to be able to participate in the democracy. So studying South Africa is interesting. There are other countries. I'll tell you a story. I was in a country called Zimbabwe. Have you heard of Zimbabwe?
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is what I saw when we were in Zimbabwe. It was really cool. In Zimbabwe then, this is maybe 10 years ago, they had a national game preserve. And this was unbelievable. We went out to a game preserve. You know what they had at this game preserve? They had, you name the animals that they had. They had elephants, and they had giraffes, And there was one scene in the middle of the forest there. They built this watering hole. It's kind of like a small pond. And you go there and see all of these animals drinking from the water. It was just an unbelievable sight. So they had a preserve there where they prevented hunting. One of the problems they have in Africa is there are people who make a lot of money by killing elephants and other animals. And the government there is trying to stop them from doing it. But it was extraordinary. So looking at Zimbabwe, which has had its ups and downs, right now they're not doing very, very well. Those are two countries that you might want to look at. Yeah.
Just a question. How would you feel if you were elected as president?
Well, I'd be pretty nervous. It's very hard to be a senator. It's very hard to be a president. I'll tell you why. See, one of the things that we have to deal with, well, I want you to help me out here. What are some of the issues that the president or a senator has to deal with? Who can help me out? What are some of the issues that we're out there? Yep.
The war.
Right. We have to decide. Do we go to war? Do we not go to war? How do we bring troops home from Afghanistan right now? Do we go to war in Syria? Do you go to war in Iran? Very difficult question. It's a very important question. Now, I'm chairman of a committee called the Veterans Committee. And my job is to make sure that all of those people who did serve in the military, when they get out of the military, get the benefits that they have been promised and that they need. But that's a very important issue. Yes?
Do you have any plans for running for president in 2016?
It's a complicated issue. The issue is maybe. The answer is maybe. How's that? Okay. Yeah.
Well, we've been studying South America.
It'd be a little bit louder. Okay.
We've been studying South America. What do you think the assets are for that part of the world?
South America is very interesting. For many, many years, the people there lived in a lot of poverty. And they still do. But in countries like Brazil and other countries, they have made some significant progress. So Brazil, for example, has come from being a very poor country to becoming a country where people have a much higher standard of living. So their issue is, how do you raise people out of poverty? Same issues that we deal with. How do you deal with education? How do you deal with the environment? Are some of the issues that they're struggling with. Yes, young lady in green.
What do you think the most important thing you've done as the senator?
Well, two things. Let me mention two things. I believe that everybody in our country should have health care as a right. Okay? And there are a lot of people who can't afford health care, and we've made some progress in recent years. But one of the things that I wanted to do is to make sure that everybody in Vermont, no matter where they live, would be able to go to a doctor regardless of their income, okay? And what we managed to do is build a number of community health centers. In fact, we have one in Stowe which serves this area. Do any of you know the dental clinic? I don't know if you go to the dental clinic right here in Morrisville. Well, that is something that I helped bring money in for. And we've got them all over the state of Vermont. Dental clinics and health clinics like that. And some of them actually right in schools. So we're making some progress in that area. The other thing I did, which I think was significant, on a day like today, I worry very much that there are some old people, and people don't have a lot of money who are struggling to keep their homes warm, right? So some people heat with oil or with gas or heat with wood, and it's an expensive proposition on a day like today. And when I became elected, I was able to double the amount of money we put into programs that help lower income people be able to heat their homes. So those are a couple of things we did. Yeah?
Do you and Senator Leahy have any plans to make college more affordable for
Oh, good questions. Boy, these kids are good. You're asking wonderful questions. And the answer is yes. And it's a very important issue. I'll tell you why. Because not everybody wants to go to college, and not everybody is academically minded, you know. But I want to see every kid in this state, every kid in this country who has the ability to be able to go to college without worrying about coming out of school deeply in debt. You know what that means? So right now, maybe some of your older brothers or sisters are going to college, and they're coming out and they have $25,000 or $50,000 in debt, which has a huge impact on their lives because they have to pay them. So the answer to your question is yes. We're going to work very, very hard to make college. Yeah.
You've had the opportunity to meet a lot of important people for your job. Who inspires you the most?
Oh, I don't know what to answer that. Well, I had the opportunity, I didn't meet him personally, to be present with Mandela. And I would like you all to study Mandela's life, because he was a man who spent years and years, not only in jail, but in really bad conditions. And they thought he would die there. That was probably the goal. They wanted him to die in jail. He was there cutting rocks. You know what that means? Breaking rocks. And he managed to live through that to become president of the country. So I think Mandela's story is a very inspiring story. And President Obama's story is an inspiring story too, because he had to overcome a whole lot of barriers to become president of the United States. Yeah.
What made you want to be a senator?
Good question. I'll tell you what. Because I'll tell you a story. You guys know where Hardwick is?
Yeah.
5 miles away from Hardwick, there's a little town called Stannard. Anyone know where Stannard is? It's a small town. You know what Stannard is? Okay. And I lived up there, oh God, a long time ago, 40 years ago. And right across the road from me, there was a kid. How old are you guys?
11.
Just your age. Just your age. And you know what? He had no teeth in it. Well, he had some teeth, but they were really rotten. You ever see anybody with really rotten teeth?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, my goodness, these are, I don't know what he was, 10 or 12 or something like that. And his teeth were rotten because he never went to the dentist, and he probably didn't brush his teeth or anything. It turned out that there were a lot of kids in the state of Vermont who were in that position. But it was not only dental care. There were families who couldn't get health care. There were people who couldn't get jobs, or if they had jobs, the jobs wouldn't pay them very much money. So what motivated me is to how we create a state and a country where people have decent jobs, decent health care. And those are kind of the reasons why I got involved. Okay, so let me just conclude this. We've got to get going. You guys have asked terrific questions. And I want you to think, who knows what democracy, who can define democracy? Yeah.
Well, the right to vote for who you want to lead you.
Good. In other words, what democracy is about is that in this country, and you all study George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and those guys, they try to create a democratic society, which means that instead of a king or 1 or 2 people making all the decisions, the people made all the decisions. But democracy doesn't work unless you guys are thinking about the issues that face the country and participate. And by the very good questions that you have asked this morning, whether it's college affordability or anything else, it sounds to me like you are learning about what democracy is about. So I want you to be thinking about these issues, studying Africa, studying Latin America, studying about the economy, studying about healthcare, studying about education. And here's the main thing. There are some people who think that learning and reading and discussing issues is not cool. Is that right? It's dumb. I don't agree. I think talking about these issues and reading and studying and using your brains is really, really important. It's fun. Learning how to write well is kind of fun. Reading and understanding books and talking about those books, believe it or not, is really fun. Okay? So I don't want anybody in this room to believe somebody says, oh, you're reading a book. What a dumb thing to do. That's not true. Reading and learning how to write well and doing math is good stuff. Okay? It'll help you later in life, and it makes you good citizens of the country. Okay, thank you all very much for allowing me to do this.
I just wanted to thank you for your attention and your thoughtful questions. I am so proud of all that you know and all that you showed today. You were amazing, and it was a wonderful opportunity for you to speak to our senator, so thank you for that.
Thank you.